Hello and welcome to the our next lecture uh, that is about to the tuples. So in this topic we will cover what is the tuple, the difference between the tuples and list, why we use the tuple, and the syntax of the tuple, operations, index, type error, slicing, nested item. So the first thing is that what is the difference between tuples and list? The basic difference is that tuple is immutable, list is mutable. What does this mean? Mutable that in which we can change something. Immutable means that when we are not allowed to change anything in the existing data. So this is the basic difference. The another thing is that tuples start with the parenthesis, the syntax for that, and list start with the brackets. Sometimes we called it square brackets. The another thing is that tuple is much faster than the list, and also tuple takes less memory than the list. When we are sure that, why we use that actually tuple, when we are sure that our data will never be changed in our current operation, in our current flow, then we will use the tuple. Or we can say that when we are sure that our data might be increased, or we can say that our data are in a millions of bytes, then we will use the tuples. Suppose we are reading some data in our databases, it could be like a MySQL, SQL, or whatever, or we are showing that we are getting data from some Excel files and we are not sure what would be the length of our data, then we will use the tuples. So what is the syntax for that? Here is very simple syntax. I'm just creating a variable mytuples, and there are two ways. One way is that we will use a comma after initializing the value. So this is a tuple. If you do hover on your variable, you can see that built-in immutable sequences. And or the other way is that we can declare a tuple in this way by adding a bracket. But for the list we will use my list, we will use a bracket, then we will assign a value 1 2 3 or whatever. The another thing is that tuples do not allow us any kind of operation like append, but list is providing such kind of operation like append, extend, as we already discussed in our previous lecture. And another thing is that tuple, suppose I'm adding 1 2 3 4 3 and 4, and same like in the list 1 2 and 3 and 4. I'm printing the value as it is my tuple, and it has display 4, and also I'm printing the list. Here is my list, it has the same value. So as I said, tuple takes less memory. To checking the memory, I'm importing the system library for that. Suppose I want to just check the length or the size of my tuple. This is tuple size, and this is tuple size, and I'm using a way for that. I'm using a format, so we can directly use the value over here. System dot get the word for that, get size of, right? And I'm using a tuple here, so it return us a 72. Let me actually append the bytes. In the case of list, I'm printing the value of list. This is the size of, this is the list size. You can check that we have same value in the both tuple and also in the list, but it has a different memory occupied. The list is list has occupied 88 bytes, and the tuple I get only 72 bytes in the memory. So the another thing is that all the things are same, but suppose we want to get the operation, as I discussed, no operation is allowed in it. But if our tuples have some value, suppose we are adding 1 2 3 and 4. If our tuple has a list inside the tuple, then we can change that list. Here I'm going to get the index. Suppose I'm going to change the index 1 with 3, and you can see that here when I do print my value of tuples, or so it will give us some kind of, let me actually remove this one. It will give us the error, type error, tuple object do not support the item assignment, right? But we can change the value inside the nested item, or inside the inside the list. So suppose I want to change the index 1 and 3. So it has added, or sorry, it has updated the value of nested list that is already in the tuples. So the result is that we cannot change anything from the tuple, but we can change the nested item from the tuple if that is not a tuple. In our case, here is the list in the tuple, but if we want to change, let's say we want to use the inside again tuple, then this will not work. Same, it is throwing the exception. So the other thing is that suppose how we get the value from the tuple. Suppose I want to get the value, let me actually remove this one, 3. I want to get the value from tuple. We will use to get the value by index. The index format is same as it works in the list. It starts from the 0. The index value 1 is on the index 0, 2 on the 1, and 3 on the 2. So we can get that 3 is on index 1. But suppose we want to get the value 4. So it will throw an exception out of range, because the index 4 is not in our tuple. But in the case of list, suppose I want to use a list. My list, sorry for naming convention, let me actually, my list. If I want to get the value of index 4 in the list, this will also returning the value as a out of range. So this is the same as we are in the list and as well as in the tuple. So the another thing is that slicing, we can use this slicing the same way as we used in our list. Suppose here I want to using the slicing with all, so it will display the whole value. If I want to slicing the start index 1 then 2 end, so it will print only 3 and 4. If I want to go the index, suppose -1, so it will start from the ending, so 3 and 2, it will eliminate the 4. And same like it works the same like the list, but this is the basic difference between the list and the tuple. So I don't think so we have to spend too much time on it. If you guys have any ambiguity or any concern or any feedback, let me know, please.